Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. I hope that you're having a wonderful one. Thank you so much for being here, for clicking on the video and stopping on by. Today we're going to listen to Branca. We're going to listen to this track, The Ascension. This is the title track off of the album, The Ascension, which was released in 1981. It's the final track on the album. We're listening to this track because it was suggested and sponsored by, hold on, I closed it, Alan, I knew it was you, but I didn't want to misspeak. Alan, thank you so much for the recommendation. Thank you so much for the support as well. So, you had said in this particular recommendation that Branca once played with Rhys Chasm, which we listened to recently as well, before veering off into his own mode of multi-guitar drone backed by drums. However, whereas Chasm's harmonic language is still rooted in tradition, Branca is more interested in exploring the microtonal. He has built special instruments to help him reach that, which I think is really cool, building instruments to reach a certain sound. His work is way more dissonant in its use of drones. His band has featured players from Sonic Youth and the Swans. Okay, we've touched a little bit of Sonic Youth. The Swans, I listened to one track from them years ago, and I don't remember it at all. I know that they're a band that has a lot of different albums, and I couldn't even imagine what style they are, but from what I've heard, they're quite the unique band, and I definitely think about them every once in a while to dive into one of their albums. I just don't know which one because they have so many, and apparently so many highly regarded ones, so I don't even know where to start. But today, The Ascension. Now, I could not find The Ascension is not on Spotify, so I couldn't use that. And the link that you sent me, Alan, is actually not available in my country, so I actually couldn't use that. Apparently, it's a little bit harder to find than I had anticipated, which may mean that this might get a copyright kind of issue, so it may be blocked on YouTube. Just go to Patreon for free, if anything. So I did manage to find a vinyl rip of the album, and so we're going to be listening to that. And I got that pulled up right here. So we'll go ahead and give it a listen. We'll, of course, like I said, discuss it after. Here we go. Okay, this was different, completely different. So the first thing that's a big difference is the production. I'm assuming that we are hearing it as it's intended, and not just because this is a vinyl rip or anything like that. That the sound is the way it is. I have to imagine that it's supposed to be like this. It sounds like distant explosions, I think, is one of the best ways to describe the sound and the production of the music. It's so distant, it's so just far away, but you can hear that brashness, that abrasiveness coming through in the music for as distant as it is. So it's kind of like a star exploding, a distant galaxy far away. There's incredible power that's happening out there, and this energy that's being dispersed, but at the same time, it's so far away. It kind of keeps that this kind of beautiful minimalistic aspect in a certain way. So that's the first standout. So you're telling me that this is all guitar that's happening in here, and if I pull up the Wikipedia page, that's what I'm seeing: guitar, a little bass, drums, guitar, and it is so interesting how all of that is just layered, and I guess getting into those microtonal kind of aspects, which is something that it's a little bit outside of my definitions and what I kind of understand. It is something I kind of have to learn about, but it's interesting how all of those sounds and the notes and everything are colliding like particles inside of, I don't know, whatever particles are inside of, and they're just bouncing back and forth like atoms, and it's really cool how that's all put together. I will give it that. And the first part of it I definitely prefer to the ending for myself personally. And this track is called the Ascension, but it actually kind of descended, I would say, into something of more madness. You know, like the first part. It's hard using YouTube to kind of back up. Started at 29, so probably about 5 minutes in or so. To me, it sounded kind of like beautiful ambient, basically. It kind of sounded like light, like here, basically. Like that kind of opening and from what it kind of carried forward in the first few minutes was kind of like a light, and it did feel kind of like it was ascending somewhere. There was something kind of beautiful in its own way in that aspect. And the way that the drums came in, the drums performed by Stephen Wischerth, handling drums, was kind of interesting too, because like I said, this whole thing has kind of this post-rock drone kind of sound if you were to have it produced in the expected ways or in the contemporary kind of ways. But because of how it all is, the drums are like this, once again, this abrasive momentum and rhythm that come in seemingly sporadic and abstract moments. And while they do carry a rhythm, for sure, it's really experimental how they're doing that. And once again, those layers of guitars happening in the back are layered to the extent that it almost makes it feel like a big chord of Mellotron, because it does kind of carry the same wavelength, I would say, in many ways. Then, about halfway in, the music just stops. It starts, it stops, it starts, it stops. And then it kind of descends, I would say, into something, to me, once again, relating a little bit more to madness. It kind of hits a little bit more of a dissonant hit, and then it shifts into something a little bit more conventional. And then it hits right back into that dissonance, and then it goes back and forth, switching between the two. Not abruptly, but kind of in this, a very interesting pattern. This was just a really interesting piece of music to listen to. I can't say I loved it, if I'm being honest. I think it was fine, but I'm more interested in what is there to learn from it. What is there to really understand from it? Let's go ahead and pull up the Wikipedia page once again. Obviously, as we mentioned, this is the debut album from Glenn Branca. The album experiments with resonances generated by alternate tunings for multiple electric guitars, right? And that's, I would assume, where that dissonance is going to come from. Sold over 10,000 copies and received acclaim from music critics. So that's also interesting. How did this album achieve such, not only acclaim, but also, a good sales number? Branca wanted to explore the resonances generated when guitar strings tuned to the same note were played at high volumes. He assembled the Ascension band with 4 guitarists, 1 bassist, 1 drummer. Included, of course, Sonic Youth. And here, the group's bass player knew the owner and engineers at the power station, so they were able to use it at little cost. They recorded the 5 pieces in between tours. The album's title was chosen as a continuation of works by Olive Messiaen and John Coltrane. Its iconic black and white cover is by painter Robert Longo. Okay, that's fine, that's fine. I want to know about this track. The title track uses the overtones from excessive guitar feedback. They form a dense, chaotic soundscape that continually rises, which, here's a sample. But like, it is very intense, and it has a kind of a, this is the definition, I would say, of controlled chaos, truly. Overtones. They form a dense chaotic. Okay, let's see what overtones. An overtone is any resonant frequency above the fundamental frequency of a sound or of any oscillation. I never took a music class. Isn't that kind of weird that I never took any sort of music classes? An overtone may or may not be harmonic. In other words, overtones are all pitches higher than the lowest pitch within an individual sound. I kind of understand it, and this chart does kind of make sense a little bit to me. Okay, I kind of get it. When a resonant system such as a blown pipe or plucked string is excited, a number of overtones may be produced along with the fundamental tone. I kind of get it. In simple cases, such as for most musical instruments, the frequencies of these tones are the same or close to the harmonics. I kind of understand that. Somehow, I kind of understand that. I can't regurgitate it to you, but you read it as well with me. I kind of get that. Okay, so this is like experimenting with overtones upon overtones upon overtones upon microtones upon your tones and my tones and everyone's tones. Like I said, I tried to click the video here, but it was turned. I can't use that one, so I had to use the other one. Okay. See, like, this to me is definitely a piece of appreciation. This is to me a perfect track for a musical appreciation class. Like, what can you learn from this? What can be taken and understood about this and this type of experience of music? Whether or not you find pleasure in it, whatever, fine or not. But what can you understand and gain from it? That's like how I come into a lot of music, if not all, and especially something like this, which is more difficult, Okay, what else can you gain from it? So I like doing these type of experimental tracks and listening to this kind of stuff because it pushes your boundary and it kind of helps you push your outside of your lines a little bit more. Don't be so comfortable. It's okay to be uncomfortable and learn something new. I love that. So, Alan, thank you so much for the recommendation. Thank you so much for the support as well. Really appreciate that. Thank you for the introduction to Branca also. Let me know what you guys thought of it in the comments down below. Please come on back tomorrow. I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you all later. Bye.